Hello. Is this thing on? Okay, cool. I actually got ready to do this stream that no one's gonna watch because I have no fan. What? Already fucked it up. Whatever. I can't edit this. This is me off the fly. Hey, what's up? My name is Mickey. I have been watching YouTubers act a fool for years and years now, and I keep wanting to make reaction or commentary videos to shit that happens on YouTube because it is just so interesting to me. It's like, I really do feel like the parasocial relationship between YouTubers specifically and the fans or the audience. It's interesting because I really feel like, yes, on one hand, it's like we know that these people don't know who we are. We watch what they show to us, and there's like a barrier between that. But now it just seems like more and more, celebrities are getting canceled because of people they talk to on Instagram, or a lot of like shit's perpetuated by the feedback of the audience. And there's so many mediums like Reddit, Twitter, comment sections on any platform, that these celebrities who are obviously obsessed with themselves, because if they weren't, they wouldn't be celebrities, especially YouTubers. So they actually give a shit what we say collectively. Like, obviously not on an individual basis, but like the hive mind we create is how these people generally seem to validate themselves, especially when they get canceled or whatever for something that they showed us in the first place. Like, and then they come back and they like have to explain themselves. We've seen this with Crystalia when he tried to come back. We've seen this with, I guess, Kevin Spacey, even though this was like, I don't even know. It's like, yes, all these celebrities who, if they were canceled in the 90s or something, like they'd still keep getting roles. Like, they would still be living on and like creating and like making money, because it's like, yes, they know that the fans or the public think they're assholes, but they're moving on with their lives. Like, now there's just so much emphasis on social media that like we're all kind of in the same boat, and no longer it's like fans, celebrities. It's like everyone's in the same boat in a way. It's like anyone could get attention or fame now from putting themselves on the internet. So like even more so now than ever. So let's talk about Trisha Paytas. That was a segue. I'm really new at this. I'm really bad at this. And maybe if I like making these videos, I'll start editing them and not being so crazy. But whatever, we're talking about crazy people. Why not just get into it? So I have borderline personality disorder, which is part of the reason why I like Trisha Paytas, or I liked her, or I don't even know what to think. I relate to her on many levels. And also when she fucks up, it's almost like if a friend were to fuck up. And I know I'm not her friend. And that's the parasocial relationship, that it's like, yes, these people care about our feedback in general, but we're not friends. She doesn't know who I am. She probably wouldn't even like me if we met, but I watch her and I fucked with Trisha Paytas, okay? And H3. I liked both of them individually before they got together. And let's get into that. So 2 years ago, I believe, I think a little bit before the pandemic, I'm not entirely sure because everything's been a blur. Bars, that rhymed, but stay hydrated. So Ethan Klein made a video about Trisha Paytas about 2 years ago, and it wasn't even about her. He titled it Instagram versus reality. So he called out all these like kind of, thoughtstagram influencers, which included Trisha Paytas, and he didn't really know her. And he pretty much compared pictures of these influencers when they look like shit, no Photoshop, whatever, just look like normal people. And then he was like comparing it to these pictures that they have that, are all photoshopped and are like model hustler shots. And he's pretty much saying like, oh, what a lie. Like, this isn't reality. Everyone's ugly. Like, he said that the point of that video was to try to make people feel better about being ugly and being themselves. But that's just whatever. That was a douchey video, and out of all the people he came for, Trisha Paytas was obviously like the only influencer or YouTuber or whatever that got pissed off and made a video right back, because that's what she does with everyone. Sometimes you can't tell if she means it or if she's just trolling. Like with Joe Rogan, it was like she was obviously trolling, or she just knew it was entertaining and made a video. But with Ethan, she got fucking mad, and it started this whole like little beef between them. And then they kind of made a whole meme where it's like, why don't you come on the podcast and let's squash the beef? So she did, and that episode was hilarious. And they got along, and there was kind of like jabs at each other, but also overall it was like a wholesome episode. She was hitting on Ethan, but then she was negging him too and hitting on Hila. And it was all just really funny. So they're like, let's keep this going and let's do a little bachelorette for Trisha, so this is where it all started. It was already fucked up from the beginning. So she's like, okay, let's do it, kind of expecting it to be real. And it kind of seems like the producers of the show started showing all these like losers or whatever because it's funny. And she was like, oh, I thought this was going to be legit. I'm kind of disappointed. So whatever. Then Moses, Hila's brother, Ethan's brother-in-law, he hits her up, I guess. I guess he saw the segment. He was like, oh, she fine, she funny, she's single, she thirsty. Let me go slide into her DMs. And he did. And they started fucking dating. And then that was a whole thing. Ethan was kind of just like gobsmacked about it. He was like kind of making jokes about how she's going to ruin their life. She hated it, but whatever. They quarantined together. Hila and Moses, they got super close in quarantine, and pretty much now she's marrying him. But that's okay. So that's a separate issue. That's whatever. Let's get back to the initial point. She started around the same time as dating Moses. She started frenemies with Ethan. And when I say started frenemies, I should say that he proposed the idea of having a podcast on his channel that was between him and her. And it was like the little banter they had. So he's like, H3 wants to do a frenemies podcast. And she's like, okay, cool. So from the beginning, it's an H3 production. She's aware of it. Let's do this. The podcast itself definitely, like, it's only been a year, and there's already been 4 fucking explosions on her end. And it's kind of been like coupled with this meme where it's like, oh, every time they order a pizza and Ethan dresses up as fucking Uncle Fester, like all hell breaks loose, and that's the meme. But it is kind of like, so why does pizza always trigger her? Maybe it's like, I wonder if pizza has like pizza's canceled. Like, we all know about Pizzagate. It's like maybe pizza isn't as poppin' as it was. Papa John's an asshole, kind of. So that, yeah, maybe we should cancel pizza, but that's another issue. So yeah, she, the first time I think they fought, I don't know, she had BPD. She had a BPD episode. He didn't know how to deal with it. And then, like, they kind of dealt with it. And he even got Dr. Drew to take a narcissist test for them, or to give them a narcissist test. And then he kind of mediated, like, the first or second fight they had. And he pretty much enabled Trisha completely. He was pretty much telling Ethan that he had to kind of, like, bend her will in a way. I mean, he was using her borderline personality as sort of like a justification to have to kind of watch himself around her. And that makes sense, because I do have borderline personality too. And it's like, I would like the people in my life to respect that and to try and understand it. But I don't expect anyone to actually like not be douchebags. Like, even people I'm close to, like, I have to accept a person for who they are and communicate my boundaries and vice versa, but still not be super weird about it and just be chill, because I also don't want to be a Karen, because borderline kind of makes you a Karen sometimes because you think everything's against you or for you, and it's like, chill. The world isn't about you. That's something borderlines, we have an issue with that. Or just chicks in general. I don't know. But so yeah, Trisha was just like, okay, kind of ended up being the Trisha show. This David Dobrik, Seth, like, sexual assault shit happened, and they pretty much became like these internet heroes for a week, where it was like, oh, they are coming for these bad influencers and taking them down. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool, whatever. When that's over, they kind of don't have anything really to talk about. They have nothing in common. So they always end up fighting, because when you're around someone and you don't have anything in common with them, and then like the shit they say triggers you regardless, it's obviously going to lead to a fight. And Ethan's a guy. And even though Ethan's a pretty emotionally intelligent, stable seeming person, despite he has mental illness too. He has depression too. He has to take meds for it. And it's like, I know people are like, oh, well, everyone has depression. Everyone has something. It's like, yeah, because we're human. And I do know people who are just so neurotypical that it's like they're good people, but they can't relate to me. I can't relate to them. And I've accepted that. Like, I've had to stop being friends with people or in relationships with people because they just didn't understand how mental illness worked at all. And it's like, that's incompatible with me because I need someone to be like intelligent and be able to navigate the relationship with me as someone with borderline personality disorder. So it's hard. It's hard to like, I get it. I get where Trisha's coming from, but here's where it became an issue. So this last episode, she was clearly mad and she was resentful already and she was going through shit. And it seems as if with Frenemies, it kind of slowly started turning into the Trisha show featuring Ethan. I think Ethan kind of let this happen because it's not like, that's not his bread and butter. Like, he has a whole ass production company. Like, we all know he has his regular podcast. He has Teddy Fresh. He has this other podcast. Like, so he was like cool with Trisha kind of like creatively controlling what happened on Frenemies, like the segments, whatever, like it was kind of her idea. And he recognized that she's an entertaining, creative person. So he's like, yeah, let's do this. But it started becoming an issue when she tried to take it beyond creative control and tried to start being like a boss. Like, she was thinking she was now like the co-boss of H3, the whole company, because she was telling Ethan that she didn't want the crew to be on the show. She wanted to replace the crew, and she keeps backpedaling, and she got fucking so mad at him for like making his little reaction video that, mind you, he had to make. Ethan probably would not have made that video for 30 minutes kind of regarding Trisha if she didn't put it there, because she is the kind of person that she'll air out the dirty laundry. Like, she doesn't know how to differentiate her personal life. My dogs are barking, great. She doesn't know how to differentiate her personal life from her public life. It's especially like YouTubers in general, especially like vloggers and people like that, where it's not just like a podcast or something professional, but when it like your whole channel is pretty much you lazily vlogging, and it's very voyeuristic, but it shows that she probably doesn't have a lot of like business sense when it comes to working with someone long term. I know she does her other stuff. She has people that she works with constantly with her more like professional like art stuff, but she hires them. She's in control of who she's around and who works for her and who she works for. Like, she thought the crew was working for her, when in reality, she was just part of the crew now, like of Ethan's crew, and he, being her friend and family, gave her this illusion that like it was a 50-50 thing, not only monetarily, but mentally. So when she started realizing that his crew that he hired was having more involvement in the podcast, she started getting mad. And instead of like telling Ethan one-on-one, hey, can I be honest with you? I really love you. I really love Ela. I love Moses. And I like Dan. And I just want it to maybe be like, when I'm here, could it just be us? Like, I know your crew is your crew and they are part of the thing. And this podcast is a part of your thing. But I would just really appreciate if maybe the days I show up here to do this segment or this podcast, we could have a crew I hire that I pay for and I vet, because it's like with my mental illnesses, not to use it as an excuse, but just to say it's like I do get anxiety from being around, because that's, I think, what's happened. Like, I can speak from experience. I get anxiety when I'm around people who I don't think like me. And I think with Trisha from the beginning, she just felt like an outsider with the crew. Not only because she was stepping into someone else's operation, but just they didn't blend well. Ethan's crew is like, they're a bunch of monotonous, white millennial guys who have very dry pan humor. Like, I heard their little cringe stories on the latest episode of just Off the Rails or whatever, his regular podcast. And they were like, oh, let's tell our most cringiest stories. And all their stories were so fucking blasé and just so like, damn, you guys really are sheltered. Like, I'm not saying a person has to be interesting and they have to like be prostitutes in Hollywood Boulevard or like, have been abused or like gone to jail or shit like that. Like, you could be an interesting person and not have had like the worst trauma in the world. But the fact that these guys think that they're funny and entertaining, and then the shit they say is just so fucking mundane. It's not even like, it's really not, to me, like, I don't think H3's crew, in my opinion, have like the star power. And I know a lot of people like them, so that's chill. But I would say, just like, if it was back in the day, an industry standard thing where it's like, okay, these are people who people want to watch and listen to, they are not it. And maybe I just relate to Trisha more on that because I just never go along with those kind of people either. I only got along with like weirdos or like people who've been through a lot. And that could be hard too because, a lot of those people are mentally unstable and it's hard to have a good relationship with someone, even if you love them and care about them. If you guys are mentally unstable and that's something you guys could like kind of relate to, it's not a good recipe for a sustainable relationship. So that's where that comes in. But she obviously felt a little bit uncomfortable around them, and maybe her borderline or whatever mental illness she has, diagnosed or not, like might have that just being around them and having to accept that this was now a part of her life, being around these people constantly. Like, I get it, but she should have approached it differently. And she keeps denying that she doesn't like them because she knows that they never did anything mean to her. They never did anything actually wrong that observably people could say, oh yeah, this. So she knows that she wasn't justified in wanting them to get fired besides the fact that they triggered her personally. So I think that's what she was like dealing with, the cognitive dissonance in her head. It's like, how much of this am I like justified in feeling and asking accommodations for? And how much of it is me just having to suck it up and deal with something I don't like. But obviously she should have like with her therapist that she claims she goes to 4 times a week. These are the times where you have to utilize the tools that you should have gained from therapy. Like, some people have therapists that enable them and that they only go to them so they could be like pretty much their hype man or their hype woman or hype non-buyer. Like, some people go, like, my own sister has her own mental illnesses. I'm not really sure what she has. I know she's bipolar too. But all her therapists, like the only therapist my sister ever liked were the ones that like enabled her and told her she was always right and whatever. And I don't know, like, a therapist is just a person, right? So you can't just say, oh, I'm going to therapy, and that's like, oh, good, you're on the road to recovery. If your therapist is a psycho or a piece of shit or a manipulator or someone who's not going to help you, then you're wasting your money and you might actually be getting worse. And I'm all for therapy, but only if you already, like, therapy is important, but it's kind of like they get way too much credit as a general, like, because yes, therapists are good, but a lot of therapists are not great people or not good therapists. So, and that's also a subjective thing. Everyone's life is really like on them. We have these social standards and rules, but the whole thing about the hypocrisy in this world and in this society is that a lot of shit we say is the opposite of what we do, or the same rules that apply to other people, we don't apply to ourselves, and we don't like it when the mirror is pointed back at us. And it takes so much, like, it takes a lot for anyone, mental illness or not, to be able to say, I was wrong. And not only I was wrong, but like, I'm wrong and I deserve the consequence, right? That takes a lot, and it's so much easier said than done. But anyways, with Trisha, her whole blow up with Ethan at the end, it was like the way she got after the fact, when she made her first video, I'm stepping down from frenemies, she was like calm, coherent. She's like, look, this is just I don't know if I can do this anymore. Good, fine, entitled to that, totally. Ethan made a reaction video to that, kind of listing and articulating every point she had against him. Ethan goes at things from like a very litigator kind of like, here are the facts, here is the cause, here's the effect, conclusion, done. And it was a 30-minute video that he obviously had scripted because he is not like Trisha. He is not impulsive. He is not like, oh, let me make 28 videos, each 1 hour, repeating the same bullshit, emotionally fueled, right? He knows better than that. He knows how to distinguish better than her what the public should know and what should be kept behind closed doors between friends, family, workers. So after that video, she made her whole 3-part Ethan's a liar or Ethan's lies video. And you could see that she started watching his video for the first time while filming. So you could see her progressively get madder and madder and madder as he kept going. I'm like, Trisha, why the fuck would you watch this video that's 30 minutes from your brother-in-law about this situation that's clearly very fresh and fragile? Why would you watch this video on camera? Okay, or if on camera, why not edit out the things that like, or even if that is the case, and in the middle of your filming, you're starting to get triggered and you see yourself or you feel yourself getting riled up, that is when you should have hit stop, called your fucking therapist, or just taken a breather, gone for a walk, take a swim in your fucking infinity pool or whatever because you're a fucking millionaire. Like, this is where she should have been utilizing the tools that she should have learned in therapy. Like, I'm going to say some shit that I think I mean right now and that I think I'm going to mean tomorrow because that's like, she knows that she says shit she regrets. But it's like, at a certain point, I'm like, this isn't about another YouTuber that you've never met or that you met like 3 times. This isn't Gabby Hanna who like you hate, but you've only met like maybe a handful of times in your life. This is your fucking brother-in-law who is going to be in your life, hopefully, like as long as you're with Moses. And if she has a kid with Moses, then it's going to be like, they're always going to be involved somehow. And she's not thinking about these things, or at least she's not showing us what she thinks. And it's like she doesn't really have to tell us or do anything, but it's like, as like she's putting out this content, this stimuli is being, put into our lives. We're choosing to watch it, so we're going to comment on it. And she's obsessed with what we think of her. We, as in just anyone, because we're the we're the reflection for her. We are the validating factor for her. Like, she doesn't talk to us because she cares about us, obviously, or her fans. She talks to us because we are people with feedback to give her. What she's obsessed with is the feedback about her, right? Even though it doesn't matter what we say, because she's always going to say, well, you know what? If they're wrong, or if I disagree with them, then they're not my enemy. Like, then I don't care what they think. So she doesn't want to hear the criticism, or unless she's ready for it, she doesn't want to hear it, which is a problem because you can't only handle criticism when you're ready for it, because then it's like, okay, it's still then just you trying to make shit work for you. So yeah, she just like went off on Ethan as if he was Gabby Hanna, as if he was David Dobrik, as if he was just some schmo, when it's really someone that she acknowledged cared about her, right? Like, she was acknowledging this whole time that he did care about her, despite their differences or despite the triggers. His heart was in the right place. But as she kept seeing the video and hearing what he had to say, instead of trying to talk it out with him or her therapist or whatever, she decided to just go off on a tangent online. And that is where she fucked up. Because it's like, her fans, it's like, in a big way, a lot of us, it's not that we just watch her because she's a train wreck and we're entertained by train wrecks. Like, I don't like watching The Real Housewives. I don't like watching people who are train wrecks and like are proud of it, or like Jeffree Star. Like, fuck those people. I don't just like watching problematic people because I like problems. I like seeing growth. I like seeing real human behaviors and interactions through the scope. It's interesting to me. So what made me like Trisha was that it's like she always fucked up, but she always had these phases where it's not only like she was just taking accountability, like just a throwaway, like it really seemed like she was trying to grow and go through a journey of exploration as a content creator for over 10 years on YouTube. Like, it's watching someone grow, okay? So, or grow or get older, whatever, because getting older doesn't always mean growth at all. So, yeah, I guess that's why I started watching her and just seeing her go off on Ethan. It kind of made me feel like she's actually not that great of a person. Like, like her heart is only in the right place when she wants it to be. And that is the thing about borderline personality too, where it's like, or mental illnesses too. It's like when you're good, it's great, but then you turn into a completely different person because you're in that place. And that's not really reliable. That's something that you really need to work on. And it's like, we didn't have to see that episode. That's the thing with her. It's like she really, I think, needs to start learning, or not only just her, but really a lot of people who are obsessed with social media and obsessed with feedback in themselves. They need to like realize that there's just some shit you don't have to say or do, or like let people know. Sorry, like there's some shit you don't have to make the world privy to. Like, she shouldn't have like filmed her whole aftermath either. Like, it should have just been like after Ethan's video, she should have called him or just like maybe made a few tweets or whatever, but she went on a fucking tirade. And obviously that damaged their relationship. And that's the thing. She's expecting that people should just accept that this is who she is and continue to let her back into their lives, or to be okay with the fact that she just like fucked everyone over and she's going to continue to do her thing and really like not take accountability, but like not face any consequences for it. That's like the thing. It's like, you're not like, I don't want to see her get punished. I don't want to see her be hurt or like, you know, but I don't like seeing her regress like this because A, it's cringy and it's annoying and it makes me really not like her. And I thought I liked her. So it's kind of like, I don't like watching people I don't like. So I feel bamboozled. But also it reminds me of myself and it scares me because I'm like, how in control am I though of my like behaviors or my splits? Like, seeing her act so coherent and down in like one episode or one vlog and then be a completely different person when it applies to her, when it's hard because it's like, damn, is this how I am too? I think a lot of people feel that way. So yeah, it's that projection. And now, all right, so that was that. And I was going to make this video yesterday, but she's come out with even more videos since then. Yesterday, she made a video and it was promoting her skincare line. I'm not going to be petty and say, girl, like, I know you have a skincare brand and I know it's not like her formula. She's working with actual cosmetologists and estheticians who made it. She's just kind of putting her face on it and probably was like a little kid when you go make soap somewhere. It's like you really put not that much effort. But she was like, yeah, you know, so I'm not going to say that because her skin's shitty. And I'm only kidding. I'm saying her skin's shitty because you know what causes your skin to be fucked up? Stress, hatred, ego. That stresses you out and it gives your skin just a horrible look. It fucks you up. Or I'm not talking, my skin sucks too. I'm wearing makeup. So yeah. But yeah, so she's promoting her skincare brand. And then she made a little video after her ad and she was like, look, let me be real. The only reason I'm still putting out this content, I know it's really bad timing, but I have to like follow these deadlines. So when it comes to her own professional life, she's all about it. She's all about like, you know, being responsible and being like normal, which is fucked up because apparently she can pick and choose who she fucks over. She's not going to fuck herself over, which is funny because apparently her life has all been about self-sabotage. But it's like clearly not really because you buy yourself nice shit. You, you know, it's like she treats herself quite a bit. So that whole excuse, like, oh, I'm like this because of my mental illness and I say things I regret and self-sabotage. It's like, no, it's just because you don't care that much about other people unless they personally serve you. The only people that serve her are her own family and her boyfriends or fiancés, because she's like one of those people who she doesn't have friends. She has relationships with people romantically, and that she's already admitted that before. I've watched her for years. Like, she said this before. She's not a friend kind of person. She is a girlfriend kind of person. And fine, whatever. I was like that too, and now I'm friendless. So yeah. What was I saying? I don't know. There's just so much to unpack. So yeah, so she was saying that like the reason she was making these videos anyways was because she had to follow these deadlines and she knows it's bad timing and it's cringe. And then she started talking about like herself for 20 minutes. And she was just, I'm so excited for this. I'm so excited for that. Like Moses this, Moses that, like just happy as fuck. Like I'll like, I can't edit in the video, but just like she was just really happy and like, it's almost like she had no regrets or remorse for hurting Ethan in more ways than one. Like, not even just emotionally, probably, because he's not a sociopath, so obviously he's probably hurting emotionally, but also financially. Like, she fucked him over. Like, they made merch. Like, they had these things that they were, like, planning for, and Ethan knew he was taking a risk working with her because of her, like, volatility and her, like, how mercurial she is. But he still took a risk, and she just proved everyone right. She proved him right by being like, you know what? This is just who I am. I'm an asshole. I'm self-destructive. I've already said don't put me on a pedestal. I don't care. She has, like, relinquished, is that the word I'm saying? But she's like given up any sort of accountability because she's like, this is who I am. I have mental illness. That is not growth. That's the opposite of growth. And the fact that she doesn't even acknowledge this or understand this, being how like rational she is about other stuff that don't pertain to her, it's almost like, wow, that's some hypocrisy as fuck. And that is more annoying than anything as a hypocrite. Like, we're all hypocrites. But just being such a, like, shameless hypocrite. Holy shit, you know what I mean? Crazy. So, now today, she made her latest video where she finally sounds somewhat rational again. And she's like, let me just be real. Let me just give my actual side. Not even my side of the objective truth, but just like my thought process and why this has happened. And she pretty much said in the video that she felt really just like there were a lot of things that Ethan did say to her or interactions they had that did trigger her, and that she kept feeling like she had to kind of brush off or accept for the sake of the show and for the sake of like entertainment purposes, and that she realized that that wasn't smart and that she should have like backed out before, because obviously the things he was telling her that she told him not to bring up, but apparently he kept bringing up for whatever reason, because like Ethan's not perfect, dude. He's not perfect. Like, I could definitely see how he could be extremely triggering. Like, Hila is a really, like, chill, like, down-to-earth, calm, anchor, support person in his life. Like, she has handled a lot from him, but he's all, like, they have, in my opinion, on the surface, like, I don't know what the relationship is, but it's like, I don't see Hila as an enabler. I see her as, like, a calm entity that does help keep him grounded. Because I do feel like he could so easily go off the rails, like he says. And when he goes off the rails, it's not like Howard Stern where it's like he is like super confident in what he says. Like he has a reason for what he's going to say. He just kind of says shit unfiltered sometimes. And like, you know, like any other human, sometimes it's just like, did you really just say that? Or like, you don't even know the info on this. It's like a lot of hypocrisy on his end too. So I could see how like, he probably like kept pushing at stuff on her, expecting her to just be like cool with it because she's confusing and he doesn't really understand what her boundaries are because she doesn't even really know. Like her boundaries Her boundaries are always changing. And that's part of A, her borderline. B, because she's a woman, let's be real. A lot of chicks, we're sensitive bitches, okay? And if we're not feeling amazing about ourselves that day, whoo, you do not want to get us started. So she acknowledged in this latest video that maybe she should have backed up. She should have like been a little bit more true to her real self, which is like, I'm not feeling very good about this anymore. And I see it. We all see it. That's how it happened. That's how the pod. So, okay. So let me give some final notes because it's getting really long. And I kind of just want to give my breakdown of like the aftermath of the episode. A few questions I see on Reddit. Should there be a Frenemies finale episode? I think this is more like one of those fart in the wind type questions. Like, of course not. There shouldn't be. Like, Trisha and Ethan should probably not be on camera ever again together because it's like, you know, like I said, she's now part of their family and Hila's currently pregnant right now and she already has a kid and Trisha is supposed to be that kid's aunt, right? Like, given their relationship and how it was, it kind of seemed like they were close and that she was ready to, like, at least for now, for the time being, be like in their lives, like a family member. Right now, it's like, I really cannot see how, like, this is going to work, you know? With everything she said, unless she did some grand gesture of apologizing to Ethan for calling him a piece of shit, calling him a liar, because Ethan never said anything about her. Like, Ethan never definitively described her as anything but, you know, positive things. Like, he acknowledged the situation, how there was a lot of, like, you know, tension there, but about her, he, like, really talked her up. He said really nice things about her because I genuinely do think he respected her as a, you know, person and creator and whatever. She did not reciprocate that respect. She called him a fucking piece of shit. She called Hila a cunt, which she hates being brought up. She could do shit all the time and then say, could you not bring it up? It's triggering. It really hurts because I know it was wrong. I'm embarrassed. It's like, okay, well, that's how shit works, Trisha. I'm sorry. When you do something wrong, like really wrong, and you don't really seem to be making the moves to, like, people are going to say shit to you just like you do with everyone else. You, like, bring shit from 3 years ago up. So people can't do that to you? Like, are you daft? Okay, someone wrote, okay, Trisha hits Moses. Hello, Trisha, is that your name? Trisha hits Moses. Trisha admitted to hitting Moses, and that's really the biggest tea of all of this, and how he left for a month. How in order to come back, she had to promise to go on medicine and therapy, which she, well, yeah, I'm sure you were going to write something else. Yeah, dude. Also, I was going to bring that up right now, too. She fucking bruised this motherfucker, okay? She bruised Moses, okay? Like, people don't really think of domestic violence. Like, they don't think of a woman being the abuser physically. Like, mentally, sure, but physically, you don't really think of a woman being able to cause that much damage on a man because generally, like, you know, because let me tell you something. I have borderline personality too. And in the past, I was in a relationship with someone and they fucked me up so much mentally. And instead of me getting the fuck out of that relationship, I exploded on them. Not exploded, not sexually. It's like I tried hitting them. I was like slapping them and blah. But I'm 5'2", and this dude was like 6'4", and my hits felt like so. But that was wrong too. It's the behavior, period. That behavior, hitting the person you're with, or hitting anything really, even punching furniture. Like, but at least take it out on an inanimate object if you have to, by yourself, so no one's aware of it. Okay? Because yes, like sometimes you get so fucking angry, you need to break something, which I have. I've broken a lot of stuff. But you do not take that on. You don't abuse people. Because then if Trisha had a kid, would she do that to her kid? Yes, she bruised Moses, and I think, look, here's the thing. Him telling her that he would be with her if she got on meds and therapy, that was a good step in my opinion. Like, because sometimes it's like, you know that the person's just in pain and they're trying to, like, inflict that on you. So it's almost like, okay, look, if I'm going to be with you, you're going to have to, like, really do these, like, actual things to work on it. But then that's like, so it's like first strike, you're out. I don't think there should be more than one chance though when it comes to people with BPD or people with mental illnesses who are not actually like, even sporadically when it's something as severe as abuse or whatever, it's like one chance you're out. You know what I mean? So with her hitting him and being like, please don't bring that up. It's really embarrassing. Like, it really triggers me to know that I did that to him. It's like, look at me, you did do it to him. And she called him a fucking pedophile. Like, I remember, yeah, she was like saying he was talking to underage girls. I don't know if she was lying about it or if she thought he was or if he was. And if she is with him and he was doing that, that's gross. Like, fuck her then. Hey. Hi. Hope I make more videos. Yeah, though, I don't know. It's just like, it was really messed up, just the whole thing. Like, I really think that Ethan and Hila have been really, really like forgiving and accepting, and she just keeps fucking it up. Moses is an enabler. Thank you so much. I'll keep making videos. I'll make tea videos. You know, I like doing it more like live because I tried editing a video earlier and it was just, I'm really bad at it. Like, I'm kind of like Trisha in that sense, fucking hate putting in the effort. She puts in effort though. She does like music videos, but it's like, yeah, I'd rather do this kind of shit too. I get it. But yeah, I don't know. It's like Moses, I don't like him anymore. Let me just say that too. Because I was like, okay, I didn't know he said that she had to do therapy and get on meds if he were to continue with her. That was cool. But now it just really seems like, does he hate his family? Like, does he hate Hila and Ethan? Or is he just like such a beta pussy that he's just like, Trisha, like, I don't know, what is their conversations? I generally feel like their conversations is her ranting at him for 2 hours, him just kind of like agreeing with her, giving like little quips, and he's like, yo, I live in a mansion. I live with a mansion with a chick who loves to fuck, and is he a gold digger? I don't know. Is he a citizen? Is he using her for citizenship, or does he think he's Jesus and he just really like romanticizes the idea of being this woman's savior? Because if that is the case, if it is the latter where it's like he thinks he's going to save her, he's going to fucking hate her because she can't be saved and he's going to feel like a fucking failure. He's going to feel like a failure, and then he's going to go from being like a water enthusiast to like he'll get into BDSM. I don't fucking know. I'm scared for him. Like, is he autistic? I don't know. I know he's a grown man, but trust me, he's never been with a woman like Trisha. Just like my exes have never been with a woman like me before, and all their exes were normal or just kind of boring, and they're like, oh, this chick isn't like, I like, they look at me and they're like, oh, you're not boring, you're fun, you're interesting, you'd like to have sex. It's like all these good things of the borderline, but then it's like, oh, she's a psycho, she wants me to like isolate myself from everyone and just be her little puppy dog. So I get Trisha. I am working on myself right now. No one cares about me though. Like, I'm not a famous person, but I am working on myself. We'll all make mistakes in life, but she needs to stop fucking being so damn immature. Because I like Trisha and I want them to be family, because despite me not knowing them, you know, I care about the kids in this world, and I do not want Theodore to be traumatized because Auntie brought an onslaught of crazy stalker psychos, because she doesn't seem to take much accountability for the shit she does to other people, just to herself. Yeah, he has issues. You know, like I said, I get it, because like truly with Moses, it's really a weird situation because he is like the opposite of Jason Nash, which I did watch. And let me tell you, the way she treated Jason Nash, I hate Jason Nash. I hate David Dobrik. Like, I think they're douchebags. And I could see how they triggered her into a fucking mental hospital. She should have removed herself from the situation as usual. Like, we all should. But I could see how, like, being friends with those people for a year drove her to, like, driving a fucking car on cocaine into his house. And that right there is like, nope, like, you cannot do that kind of shit, okay? Like, there's no excuse, no mental illness that would excuse that without you having to be like in a center, okay? Does she want to be sectioned off? Because like, you have to keep that shit in control. It's like people who do mass shootings. It's like, obviously they have mental illness. Does that take away from the fact that they've ruined lives? No. Like, so stop victimizing people who like don't deserve to be victimized just because they're going through it. Like, we all are. And what's the last thing I was gonna say? Yeah, so she's also said in these new videos, she's like, you know, Moses like didn't want to be with me. He was reluctant because I did crazy shit, like drove naked to his house at 3 a.m. and like hit him, blah blah. It's like, okay, so that's weird. Why are you? Don't you think that's like, does she really think she's getting? She says she's getting better because she's not doing shit like that anymore. So for her, just calling someone a piece of shit is like nothing. I'm like, great, cool, Trisha, then you're a douche. You suck, you're shitty. Because if for you calling like your own brother-in-law who cared about you and risked his fucking like business to put you to involve you, and you could hurt that person and just be like, you know, don't put me on a pedestal, don't trigger me, don't do this, don't do that. I'm a piece of shit. You should have known this about me. It's like, cool. I don't want to know. I don't want to be her fan anymore because that apparently that's just who she is. And she wants people to just accept it, which is the antithesis of what therapy's for, right? Yeah, dude. Well, here's the thing. Look, James Charles is creepy. I do think I never got mad at Shane Dawson. I never got mad at Shane Dawson for like not being her, like, she is a pathological liar. She got mad at him for calling her that, but then she is a pathological liar, so he wasn't wrong. She got mad that he didn't stop being friends with Jeffree, which is a bad thing too, because it's like, look, okay, you don't get mad at someone for being friends with someone you don't like. Jeffree Star is probably a piece of shit because he's mentally ill as fuck too. I don't really care about him. I don't watch his stuff, but I could just see that he is like very mentally ill as well. And you know, mentally ill people hang out and they don't get along sometimes when their mental illness clashes. So whatever. But it's like the only friendship because the only reason I liked her anyways was because she was coming for people I didn't like. Except Shane Dawson. I don't mind him. I don't know what his deal is, but I think he seems like a good person at heart, who probably wanted to get away from her because she is not that good of a person at heart. But like, yeah, David Dobrik and Jeffree Star, all these people, Gabby Hanna, I hate her too. So I agreed with the people Trisha was coming for. So it was cool and entertaining to see her come for those people with that energy. But she took that energy and came for someone that did not deserve it. And she was probably worse to him than she was about anyone else. And that was hurtful to see. You know, it was hurtful. All right. I am so dehydrated right now. And I'll keep making videos if you're into it. Let's see what happens with this. It was really nice talking to you. Thank you so much for watching. And maybe I'll see you next time. Maybe not. Keep you posted later.